Michael W. Ford. Tonight I'm going to discuss the basic practice of Goetia, Demonology, and Sorcery within a Luciferian context. The main work that I will focus towards is Goetia of Shadows. That's published by Succubus Books, available at the Luciferian Apotheca. Luciferians who begin a practice or seek to begin a practice in an initiatory path of their own choosing often wonder where to start and begin with their approach in magic, or what to tackle first. I'd like to often I point to adversarial light. We have some of the traditional Canite or Luciferian witchcraft ceremonies, teachings, and path workings that can be really done over a period of time. We also have the Necrominion, which utilizes the Egyptian satanic cult of mask. A little more detailed, a few more steps. Dragon of the Two Flames really gives you a lot of history and a lot of initiatory ceremonies and rituals and hymns that may be performed. All of these are alchemical in nature, and what I mean by that is there's a transformation in process with every single ceremony or ritual performed in my grimoires. My grimoires are as much of a kind of map as to where I've been in the past 23 years plus in exploration of magic and initiation. One of the most simple variants or traditions to approach, but often confused, is the one of Goetia. Now, the traditional Aleister Crowley translation from Mathers and so forth has Judeo-Christian invocations and prayers to really condemn and control any number of the 72 spirits of Solomon. I practiced this on and off for about 8 years, or actually probably a little longer, before I started adapting the rituals after I learned the nature of, the structure of how rituals are composed, going back to the Ugaritic hymns, the Baal cycle, looking at different cultures and how hymns were presented and invocations were presented all the way through the medieval period. And I discovered that I wasn't getting the results. They were very shaky and very never really directed in the way that I wanted. And that could have been because of the way that I was invoking. So when I was using the old Goetia invocations, I wasn't feeling any kind of passion. I was feeling annoyed, and it was kind of a self-defeating process. So in reconstructing these ceremonies based on my initiation in the Luciferian witchcraft current, the adversarial structure, if you will, began to take form very quickly. My inherent desire, or daemon, if you will, really fleshed this out quickly. Now, there are several versions of Goetia. There's the Luciferian Goetia, which is kind of an early form that developed, that was what was published in Luciferian Witchcraft. Some of my earliest forms of that. But Goetia of Shadows is really a good current kind of evolution of this tradition. Some Luciferians who practice magic will have no interest in Goetia, and let me explain a little why. The 72 spirits of Solomon, as we see in the Goetia, are corruptions and developments from deific mask or spirits known in ancient Near Eastern cultures, including Egypt, including Syria, including Mesopotamia to some extent, and also the Asia Minor, or those areas directly. Now these 72 all represent a specific type of power and occurrence that can be manifest. There's always something behind these deific masks. If you look at the Testament of Solomon, which is a work that I've been going through for several years now, from an initiatory sense, you have a total different structure of spirit. So I'd like to say also that, the primary Testament of Solomon from the 9th century BCE Hebrew king was probably, a tradition that was packed on later on during the development of Jewish magic and then Coptic Egyptian magic. All of these things were made manifest together. And we see the development into the medieval structure of ritual. The 72 spirits of Solomon should not be evoked and then threatened in the process. It's disrespectful to the 72, no matter, even if they are symbolic or specific types of energy associated with the mind. No matter how you approach them, do so with respect. Some of the earliest practices of ritual will get you results, but you need to do it in a creative, really inspiring way. Duality is not a part of Goetia or Luciferianism. We remove duality by showing balance, and balance is in nature and within the individual. Now, let's understand Luciferianism and magic. Theurgy. Magic is the art of compelling change internally or externally in accordance with the will. Theurgy is a Neoplatonic art of shaping the activities of the gods and through the experience of ascension, ultimately gaining attainment with one in the system of, say, Lamblicus. Luciferian theurgy is not so different except for the concept of seeking attainment with the one. Luciferians do not seek attainment with, quote, the one. We seek to continually increase power in our personal daemon. We focus on the daemon and the human self in a balanced manner. So our basic desires and our higher goals and desires are balanced in whatever workings we're doing to kind of make sure that's the right decision to be made. So Goetia, so theurgy would be practices of attaining the daemon or the true will, not for a ritual of gaining money or a job or a girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it is, or cursing someone. That is not. That can directly affect your ascension or development of your daemon, but it is not a direct line to that path of transformation. Now, Goetia. What's Goetia? It's a word which means basically sorcery. It's derived from ancient Greek descriptions of those who raise the shades of the dead by evocation, from which the word howling is associated with. Very fitting, the word howling is associated and one and the same with Goetia. Remember, invoking with passion. It's something that I picked up from Crowley in some of my thelemic works in the early to mid 90s that really empowered the path of my true will as a Luciferian. Essentially, sorcerers would howl and wail at the tombs at the very words of power which commanded the spirits to manifest around them. The term goas, or sorcerer, or psychagogos, which is soul charmer, are associated with those who raise and gain power from the souls of the dead. Traditional rites of ancient necromancy are the foundations and very similar in approach to the Lemegethon and the original Goetia manuscripts. Now, the rites of necromancy are darker in approach. There's generally a pit of libations, and that's pouring out offerings of blood and offerings. Modern Luciferians use their own blood when they feel that's a practice to do. Necromancy is not for beginners. It will confuse and possibly destroy you. So be very cautious in things like that. Goetic rites are not invoking the spirits of the dead. They're invoking a specific type of elemental powers in nature and within the self, or spirits, if you will, focused on everyday mundane achievements within the world we exist in. This includes knowledge, sex, power, revenge, defense. All of these things are commonly centered on. Luciferian should view it as a dual opportunity, the low and higher possibility. By invoking a spirit, the mind will open the enhanced possibility of gaining knowledge of a path towards achieving a goal, while the wisdom gained from the experience will fully manifest within the sorcerer. This will cause the sorcerer to devour and ascend to higher states of power. We use sigils, or the seal of the spirit, which creates a barrier gateway between the unconscious and conscious mind. Preliminary work in Goetia, we focus, there's a Coptic or Egyptian, Greek magical tradition focused on a invocation of the headless spirit. Now, this ritual going into the holy guardian angel or daemon is a very potent one, but you have to, as you're reciting it, throw yourself and lose yourself in the invocation every time for a period of time, twice a day. You could do it more. I did it twice a day, and that was with a job at that time, a full-time job outside in the corporate world, and I had great results. It led forth to the manifestation of what we now see as Luciferianism. The preliminary ritual cleanses and focuses the will, the mind, the unconscious, kind of bridges a gateway. Now, your tools of art, we use a Leviathanic circle. The four cardinal points are associated with Belial, with Leviathan, with Rahab, Mastema. In the center encircles Samael and Lilith. The sorcerer can stand within this, and it is unconsciously creating that alchemical change into the Baphomet, or the Black Adept. Now, the circle of evocation, and this should be utilized with simplistic fashion and names written in chalk. And I suggest you do this first before you start practicing in any restricted simple version. Practice it in the flesh, in actual ceremony. The triangle of evocation does not surround the spirit with Michael, or not my name, not the Judeo-Christian angel, but Azazel, or a strong God, the strong one in Hebrew. So it's a companionship, a honoring of the spirit invoked, but it's also compelling it by the will associated with Azazel. There's a invocation of the Athame, of barbarous evocation, compelling and turning the blade from oneself to your desire. The wand is used, which goes back to a very ancient Greek and Mesopotamian tradition, including Egyptian. And then you have the mirror. There's so many different ways you can work in that sense. Now, as you create the environment for this invocation, the spirit that you choose first, you'll want to get the sigil of it, either in a porcelain, which the Luciferian Apotheca offers, or in another form, even on paper, a parchment paper. You'll want to get this and really understand why you're going to invoke or evoke, call out that spirit. It will be towards an aim that you want to achieve in the short term, a realistic aim, or one that has higher transformative aspects to it. The conjurations are rather extensive because they're calling on key powers or what they call voices magicae, which are magical voices. There's very powerful invocations which will take you outside of your comfort zone. You'll be calling on the left-hand path or Luciferian forces that are dark and considered demonic by the mainstream. But welcoming these spirits and having the will to command and compel your desire will set you apart from everything else and create that success factor, potentially, if you make the right decisions. When you evoke and channel the spirit into the sigil within the evocation triangle or circle, you're going to bind it with either a little bit of your own blood, spittle, something that brings that union in place. And in doing so, you're going to then close the ritual and immediately forget about this act. But having the sigil with you, keeping it under your pillow, keeping it on you for a period of time every day, looking at the sigil and focusing and visualizing when you close your eyes what you want to attain with that. And imagine that spirit manifesting that in a way that you can see every day attaining. This is a process which will change your experience in ceremonial magic. Don't worry about trying to make the thing manifest in smoke or in a black mirror into a visual shape that talks to you. Don't get caught up in the insanity. Focus on goal-oriented, powerful, compelling sorcery towards results. Every act must be of will and must have a goal. If you look at Goetia of Shadows, some of the differences are the spirits are presented in the color that is associated with them. So color, sound, taste, all these things matter. Incense. You must create an environment that supports the desires you wish to achieve. Amaon, the great demonic king, is also featured in Goetia of Shadows. In a true honoring form that leads, if you look into the origins of that name, leads to the great adversarial force that Luciferians embrace. That will kind of wrap up what we're discussing today, and I hope that you are inspired enough to take Goetia of Shadows and apply it to your work. I really look forward to the results of all of you individuals who embrace the left-hand path and Luciferianism.